What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of The Rewind. I'm your host, Nick Major, and joining me today is my good old friend, my pal, Tony Vivio. How are we doing, Mr. Tony V?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
I hope you are all doing great. Before we get started with today's movie discussion, there's two things that I want to run by all of you to make sure you know. First off, being if you like this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. You will be entered to win a $15 Fandango card so you can go see a movie in theaters. Any movie, whether it's the one we're talking about today or any other movie, just give it a like, subscribe, comment below, and you'll be entered. Secondly, I want to talk to you about the Stardust app. I'm going to look over at that camera for this because it's a little closer. Check it out. This is Stardust. It's an app where you do little movie reviews. Any movie you see me review here, I will do a little 30-second review on Stardust. And pretty much the point of the app is it's just a social media devoted to TV and movie reactions. You hold it up in front of you, you're just like, hey, this is what I thought of this movie. If I go to my profile over here, you can see it's just different movies that I've seen this year. Tony, you have one as well. You've used it.
I have it too.
So here's what I'm gonna start doing. If you download the Stardust app and start doing your own movie reactions, at the end of every episode of The Rewind, I'm gonna put one person's reaction. But for now, it is time to talk about today's movie, Patti Cakes. Patti Cakes follows New Jersey-based aspiring rap artist Patricia Dombrowski, played by Danielle McDonald, as she struggles to balance multiple jobs to pay her family's bills while having a sick grandmother and unsupportive mother at home. McDonald creates an unlikely but lovable character who, against all odds, gives it her all to pursue the riches and fame of being a rap artist. We just checked it out in theaters. Had a good old time. Just like the last movie we talked about together, you had been talking this one up. You were excited to see, so whenever you're excited to see a movie, I'm excited to see it with you.
Yes.
What did you think of this one?
So obviously, you know, I wanted to see this for a while. I had a lot of expectation going into seeing this film. However, I feel like there was a lot of things about the movie that kind of just set me back a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think you kind of felt the same way about it.
Yeah, I know when I saw the trailer, I guess in my head, kind of when you see a trailer, maybe you set up yourself what you think the movie is going to be about, which it wasn't a bad movie by any means. First off, I love kind of the backstory of this. So Geremy Jasper, he was the writer and director of this, and this was his first movie.
Yes.
And he is from New Jersey, which is where this takes place. Mm-hmm. He grew up loving music. He was a musician. In the last few years, he's been doing music videos.
Right.
So it was really cool that this is like a total passion piece of his and something that he'd worked on for literally years. But by the trailer, for some reason, I thought it was going to be a bit more lighthearted of a comedy movie and kind of in a slightly different direction than it ended up being. But I still thought it was good when I look back on it after watching it, because you know during the movie, there were parts where I got bored and I like looked over to you and I was like, this is kind of slow.
It definitely had a lot of those slow moments, and I see what you're saying there. And a lot of the time I'm okay with slow moments because I'm like, okay, maybe we're just, if the filmmaker is obviously trying to make that point where let's just give the story a time to really tell itself and the characters can unfold and you can really just take the time and the journey with them.
And they really did, especially with Danielle McDonald's character. And what was really cool about her is she's Australian.
Yes.
And I think that she put out a very fantastic performance as this woman who goes by like 10 different names in the movie, so I don't even know what to address her
as. Her
as.
artist is like Killa P, but you know her grandma calls her Patti Cake. So, but I agree with you there. I think Danielle McDonald, I think that's, you know, essentially why I think the movie works so well is that because she is Australian, she had to take on a lot of work for the role. I mean, that was like a 3-year in the making kind of process for her, learning the Jersey accent, but also having to learn to rap.
And there was a few other performances in this movie that I definitely think were noteworthy.
Yes.
And one of them was by Bridget Everett. I'm not too familiar with her work. You've definitely turned me on to her a bit more. I've seen her in Inside Amy Schumer. Mm-hmm. She is so often doing humor type stuff, comedic type stuff. She took on the role, this really dramatic role of kind of a bitchy mother.
I thought it was a great turn for her. Again, like you said, she comes from more of like a comedic world, and she's also known for doing a lot of like cabaret karaoke kind of stuff. So to see, which is great that the movie kind of like went around her persona in the film as well, because she does karaoke in the movie and she does sort of like do, you know, this kind of singing
performance.
Yeah, which allows her to do singing, which is like her passion. I do think this was a great opportunity for her to really show as just an actress. I don't know if she's like a full-time kind of actress, if it's something she's always wanted to do, but at least for the time being, she's doing such a great job with it. I think this is a good first example for her, and in that direction of a dramatic role, I think she really nailed it. Again, I think for the movie, what worked for me most is that the cast, a lot of it being very unknown, or at least people you've seen before, but at times it being like maybe a second or third project.
Danielle, for example. She was the lead in this, and this was one of her second movie, I think.
The grandma, played by Kathy Moriarty, very respected actress in Hollywood. You wouldn't know it was her, though, if you hadn't, like, looked her up, because she's so unrecognizable in this movie. I had to, like, really go, who plays that part? And then when I looked at it, I was like, wow, they, like, did such a transformation on her, because she looks nothing like how we know her to be.
I think it was her best role. Since,
Yeah,
like,
no, she was
1980,
fun. It's
since
so
Raging
good.
Bull. I think that it was her best role
Yeah,
since that. Cause
she had such a fun time with that character.
Yeah, she killed it. So the movie premiered like in January at Sundance.
Yeah.
And it got rave reviews there, and even online, it's getting really good reviews.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
Which it makes sense. It's an underdog story, and everybody likes rooting for the underdog. And if anyone's gonna be one, it's Patti.
And with how low budget and first time filmmaking this was,
Yeah.
they really pulled it off. They really made it a good film.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think it was
Shot like nothing.
Yeah, this is like $1 million budget or something like that.
Something
And
small.
it was the second highest bought film at Sundance this last year. I think it was bought for like $9 million or something.
That's crazy.
And Big Sick was the highest one. I think don't totally believe me here, but then Big Sick was also bought for $12 million.
Yeah.
I think that went on to gross like close to $50 million in theaters.
That's great.
Whereas this one has made just a few 100,000.
Right. It's slowly building its way up the track. I think it's starting in very, how they do with independent movies. They start it in like select theaters, and then with attention and notoriety, it will start to gain a following.
And I think when people hear about it, they're first going to be like, oh, it's like 8 Mile or this or
Right.
that.
It's definitely a lot more. How you said you wanted it more lighthearted. I think it's lighthearted more in the direction than 8 Mile. 8 Mile is obviously more like, right there.
Much more of like a race-based
Yes,
film.
yes.
Just really drug-based.
But this movie, while it has a little bit of those elements, it's not as harsh as 8 Mile.
As I look back and reflect on it, I think I like it more when I'm thinking about it now than maybe I thought I did in theaters. I don't know if I was tired or what, but when I leaned over to you and I was like, this feels slow, blah, blah, blah. When I'm thinking about the film now, I'm like, wait, no, I think the pacing actually all makes sense. So I look forward to seeing it again.
Right.
It might be one of those movies that I need to see a second time.
I
where I'm
believe
like,
that too, yeah.
this is why the critics like it so much. It really is that good.
It's a movie that I think you kind of get like a first impression, but you have to go back and kind of look at it again and go, okay. So I definitely think this is a movie we should watch again. That's why I say I think it's definitely worth the first viewing, and then afterward you might go, I need to see this again.
And I think in all, it's going to be a good career start for Geremy. I think this was a good first film for him to put under his belt
of course.
to show the
I'm
world.
excited to see what else he has to offer, but this was a good first test subject,
And
I'd say.
I think Danielle's gonna start getting a lot of work after this too, though. I think she really proved herself in this as
killed it.
leading
Killer
girl
P.
material. But who I'm honestly most excited to see the progression of their career after this is Bridget. I read an interview of hers, and she, for the last 25 years, she was waiting tables. She's in her 40s now.
It's
She
crazy.
was waiting tables, and she was saying that she was a little bitter that she thought she passed the acting moment in her life, and that moment to be on film. She was really able to embody the character of the mother in that, because the mom in this movie, she back in the day had the chance of being in like some big hair metal band.
Correct.
But then she lost the opportunity, and she was saying how she was able to really get into that character because
she feels like that.
She feels like she felt like that now when she
Yeah.
was waiting tables into her 30s and 40s,
Right, it's
and
like
she
the
didn't know
lights
what was
passing
happening.
you by.
So this movie just has a lot of authenticity in it, from her character to Geremy putting this together for the last 15 years, and that in itself, reading into that a bit more after, makes me appreciate it more.
movie a little bit more.
Yes, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm like, there is so much heart in this, not just from the writing and directing, but the actors too. All in all, it was a good movie, and I think that'll wrap it up. Have we pretty much said everything we had to say? Yeah,
Go
that was
see
great.
Patti Cakes.
Everybody check out Patti Cakes or Baby Cakes if you're me. When we first went to buy the tickets, I said one for Baby Cakes, and she knew what I was talking about, but immediately
yeah,
afterwards
it
I
was
was
pretty
like,
funny. Baby Cakes.
I was like, no, wait, that's not the name of the movie. And also, everybody, don't forget, if you subscribe to this channel, give the video a like and a comment, you'll be entered to win a $15 Fandango gift card. You can use that to see any movie, whether it's Patti Cakes, I almost said Baby Cakes, whether it's Patti Cakes or any other movies in theaters, check it out. But also, I want to remind you to check out the Stardust app. I'm once again going to turn to that camera. It is an app where you just go on there and you post reactions to your favorite movies and TV shows, and I'm going to start putting one of your reactions at the end of every episode of The Rewind, so be sure to make an account. These are all the people that I follow, the latest reactions they do. Here's my profile of all the movies that I have seen. So check it out, Stardust, and don't forget to enter to win one of those Fandango gift cards. Thank you all so much for checking out the latest episode. I'm once again Nick Major, here with Tony Vivio. We'll see you next time on The Rewind.